Welcome, Stitchy friends. I'm Lisa, and come and get lost in stitches with me. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. You found me here at Lost in Stitches. My name is Lisa, and this is Flosstube number 5. So today I wanted to share with you a tour of my Stitchy space and how I stitch, and my Lowry stand. I've had quite a few questions about how that works, so I just wanted to give you guys a little insight into my little Stitchy world and where I stitch and how I like to set up my crafting supplies. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy. Hi Stitchy friends. Okay, welcome back. I wanted to give you a little tour of my Stitchy space. So I don't have a craft room in my home. We have 4 teenagers, we have a 5-bedroom house, but this is my little Stitchy space, and I actually like it. It helps keep me contained. So I just wanted to give you a little show of how this normally looks. When I do my floss tubes, obviously this is the background, and I just flip this desk around and record. It's kind of a multi-purpose space, but this is how it normally looks when I'm not crafting. When I'm crafting, obviously it's a hot mess, but you know, that's how it is. We're creative, right? So I'll just give you a little tour of what's on my shelves here. This one is my little popper closures. My cry neck is in here. So I've just stored those in that little bobbin bin. And this is all of my trims. That is also a mess. It's one of the last things that I have to figure out on how to storage. So if you guys have any good storage tips for trims, please leave them in the comment section. I'd really love to expand that out. This is just my little scrap bowl. So I use this bowl when I'm, you know, sewing. There's a little one in there now, just to throw some of the threads and things in. And this is my seed bead storage up here. So this is how I store my seed beads for now. Probably end up having to get another case soon. Obviously these are just the books collections. What's in here? These are little things I got from the antique market. So there's just like a little measuring tape and a couple of pairs of my scissors. I really love these. They're super, super sharp. And I like these too. They have a nice curved edge on the end. So just a nice picture of our family. And I use this one for my tin storage. It's just a little milk tray that I got from the antique mall. This is a little storage, thank goodness, a little block that my son gave me for Christmas. He knows how much we love camping. It says life is better under the stars. And what I've done is converted this into a corner gauge so that it's something useful for my sewing. So I just line up this on one edge, the corner of the fabric is here, and then that's the other corner. So say the corner of the fabric is here where my thumb is, and then I know to mark like right down here on my fabric that that's 3 inches from the corner. I also just put a little measure along here if I need to measure in 3 for the bottom corner. So yeah, so I just kind of took a thing that I had and converted it into a corner gauge. So maybe you can upcycle something that you have at home too. This one is something that I've made. It's a needle book. I believe I did a little flip through of that in one of my previous videos as well. And down here I just have my malachite and alizarin stones, and then this is a finish that I had Barbara Anna, She Mad Hatter. I found this little stand at the antique mall as well for my threads, and then my Valdani threads for the summer Quaker that I'm going to start soon. This little bin here is kind of a catch-all. It just has one of my laptop computers, and then a few things, you know, books and stickers that I use for my journaling. Yeah, that's just kind of a paper catch-all and planning for floss tubes. This one just holds my computer. Until recently in my background, you've probably seen that I had this full of fabric, but I'm kind of outgrowing this cubby, so I'm just going to use that for my computer storage. This is my journal that I just did a walkthrough of in my last Flosstube number 4, so if you'd like to see that, you know, go back and watch number 4. You'll see all the great things that journal can do for you. And these here are a few finishes that I've had. This is a little tulips finish. I haven't actually shown this one on my channel yet. It was going to be for an exchange at the Wabamun retreat in April, and I did stitch it while we were in Hawaii, and I finished it into this cute little pillow. But I won't be able to attend the April retreat now, so I don't know. I might keep it for myself. Maybe it'll be an exchange in a future retreat, but these are just a few of the finishes that I've had. And again, I've covered these in some of my other floss tubes. This one is Birdie's Flowers from Satsuma Street, and this is like a mini version of a pavane. Turn your face to the sun and the shadows fall behind you. So that's a Long Dog Sampler mini version pavane for these times. And the one in the back here is from Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. See if you can get to see that. It's just called Birds in the Orchard. A lovely story behind that one too if you go and check out his website. This one here, again, I got this at the Antique Mall. It's just a holder for my quilting cutters, my rotary cutters. This one here is a little cross-stitch bowl. It's kind of got cross-stitch on it if you can see. And that just holds my pins for finishing and framing. This one in here is a finish. That one is the Carolyn Manning brooch of the month, so Grandma's Jewelry Box it's called. So I get one every month. This is the January one, and I finished it off with more beads, if you can kind of see that. I have a couple of frames back there ready for a few things to go in for framing, and then this is just how I store my my little clips. This normally goes with my quilting things. This is how my little orts container, so when I'm stitching I just have this beside me and all of my little orts go in here, and then when it's full I dump it. And my tablet and my scissors that I use for stitching, so whenever I want to pick a project, this is the little thing that I grab and off we go. So that's kind of what's in the background of my floss tubes. I will show you how I organize my drawers. So I have everything contained in this space for beading, as you'll see. So this one here is, this is a current project that I'm kind of working on, so I'll just pull this out. Usually I just take that out and put it up on my desk. But I have all of my beads just kind of contained in here. It's a couple I found at the quilting store yesterday. Yeah, so this is just all of the beads that I own. And they're all put in these little cases. You get them at Michael's. I think they're 4 in a pack, $5 or something. Gently slide it back in. So this is a beading tray as well, and the little beading mats that I used in my beading tutorial. So I just have several of those that I use and keep, as you can see, little projects on that I'm working on. And again, this is more beading supplies in here. These are the labels and everything that I was using for coordinating my stitching stash things, so I'll just have to pull those out. Sorry, they're normally not in there. But normally I just have my tools in here. It kind of looks like that. And then this is the rest of my beading supplies. So it's just all of the different wires, and these little cases are great for holding little things. Yeah, so this is just all of the connectors and wiring for beading. And so come down here, this is just basically almost an empty drawer. So this is sea glass that my mom just sent me from Newfoundland. It is absolutely beautiful, these little pieces. Look at this. They're gorgeous. So what I'm going to do with these is take a glass frame and then kind of make a mosaic pattern on them and have a kind of a stained glass, sea glass effect of a great thing to put up in our house. Excuse me. This is my collection of Valdani threads. So this is how I store them. It's a really flat container and they fit perfectly in here. So these are the pearl cotton threads. that I've been using in some of my projects. So these are the Valdani threads that I have, and they fit perfectly in there. I got that little container at Michael's, and I won't open it because it's a loud click, but you can see that they just fit perfectly in here, whether it's an 8 weight or a 12 weight, and it just keeps them from unrolling. Down in this drawer, now this is all of my paper planner type thing. So this is the Happy Planner hole punch, so I can make my own templates. These are just little things you can get that, you know, to-do lists that you can put into your Happy Planner. I just have some cardstock back in here, my paper trimmer. This little frame is going to be used for a finish that I have coming up. I'll share that with you. And I just have a collection of clips and thread peels and things that I use not super frequently, but I do like to have those. And then just some mini lights. So I'll do that in a future review of how I use some of my lighting, but there's two or three mini lights and some cords in there. So that's all that's in that one. And then this in the bottom is all of my drawing things. So I do draw quite a bit. Used to anyway, before I found stitching, so you can kind of see some of the different things that I'm working on drawing in here. Let's see. Absolutely love these. So I kind of, you know, into the Zentangle world. If you haven't tried Zentangle, it's absolutely beautiful. See? So just some things that I've kind of played around with over the years, and I still really enjoy doing. It's as meditative as cross stitching for me, so I really enjoy that. Also, and again, this is just drawing supplies, right? This is all markers and pens and thank you cards, index cards. So multi-craft tool, and it all kind of gets contained into this little container that's from IKEA. So moving over here, I actually have all of my projects. These are all of my current whips. So I do store them on, most of them just within their Q-snaps. And I rotate them through. If I know I'm not going to use them for a long time, then I'll take them out and just fold them up and put them into a picture like this, right? But I do like to have whatever I'm currently working on in a Q-snap and just ready to grab. So these are my bigger projects here. And then I have this little bag. I showed this as well. I made this one with the little charm on it. Just before we went to Hawaii, so I took this one with me on my trip. So this one just has mini projects. So if I want to go on a trip, I can just grab this bag and ready to go. So these just have the little bag, the project, and the threads, and that's it. So that stays in there. And I think that's about it here. Now down in here is where all of the cross stitch supplies are kept. So this is the first drawer. You can kind of see it here. So I just have, you know, pens and highlighters and things that I use. This is a stand for my phone. If I'm just watching Flosstube, I'll set that up where I'm stitching. These are all the little Stitchy notions, you know, measuring tapes and things. This is where I store all of my needles, extra packs. This is great, the Utterly Smooth Hand Cream. You can use this and it won't put any stains or anything on your fabric. This is for hole punching and making little tags for my floss, or those little cards like I can show you here, like those ones. I just use the hole punch for that. This is actually really good if you need to hole punch something. It's an ergonomic hole puncher, and it has these levers inside because I have my hands really hurt from the medications that I'm on. So this is actually an ergonomic hole puncher. So if you don't have a lot of grip strength, this is at Staples. It's fantastic. It requires about half of the pressure in order to get a hole punched on. These are some of my adhesives that I have in here, and then this is the just a collection of scissors. So the kids know to come here and take scissors and not my embroidery scissors. So there we go. And in the next drawer, this one is just nearly empty. This is my 17 by 17 Q-snap. And this is my collection of mirabilias. I can do a flip through those in another video sometime, and just a clipboard if I need it. This one here is my thread storage. Now, it's organized in my mind, but maybe it looks like a hot mess. I have these 4 containers in here. So I have 4 of these. So there's these 2 here, and that one, and there's another one in there. These are all of my extra flosses. In this, I know that if I run out of something, I just come into this bag and I have them listed. These are flosses that I have that need to be bobbinated, so I just haven't had time to do that lately. And these are all my fancy flosses. So these are just little ones. Like there's the Valdani floss, there's some wildflowers in there, and yeah, there's the ones I got, Classic Colorworks. There's just a variety of things in that one. So that's kind of my floss storage for now. This one is fabric and patterns, things that are kitted. So this bag is actually like all my floss bits. So things that I've used, little pieces of things. I've just contained it all in here. I went under the zipper for you guys, but you can kind of see it's just a lot of 14 count, a lot of small pieces of things. So if I want to do little ornaments or something, I would come to this bag and then try to find a piece before cutting a great big piece. These are patterns. I won't show you those, but these are the things that I have kitted back in here. I have 3 or 4 patterns that I can walk through that are kind of ready to go, but I've just kind of put them together and put them in here, and the same down here. So this is just a way of keeping that, yeah, kind of stored away. This is the bag that I use the most, so it's on top. Down in this drawer, I have my lighting and extra bags. So these are 3 lights that I have. These 2 require to be plugged in. This one is a rechargeable one. So again, I'll go through my lighting in a future video. This one I got at Staples, this one I got at Michael's, and this one I just ordered from Amazon. This one, the rechargeable one, is fantastic. I really, really like it. So I'll go over that in a future video with you. So that's most of the cross stitch storage and my little stitchy spot that I do sewing, drawing, crocheting, kind of learning how to knit, but you know, that's still a work in progress. And then I have this cabinet here. So I'll open this up for you and I'll show you how I store some of my things that are a little bit bigger, right? So this is my iron and sewing machine. As you can tell, this is probably the only time that the iron actually gets used is when I am sewing. A funny story about this, my son came up the other day and I was ironing and I had the ironing board out, and he stopped and said, "Mom, what is that? It's an ironing, what is that table?" And I said, "Oh, it's an ironing table." And he said, "Oh, I thought it was some kind of massage table." And I'm like, no, okay, I've failed as a mom, I guess, for not having the ironing board out more. Joke, not joke. But yeah, so anyway, I thought it was pretty funny and he had no idea what that was. So, these are a couple of crochet projects that I have going. It's 2 shawls in here, so I'll take that out and go through that in a future video as well. This is how I store my linen. This is my linen stash and my fabric stash. I know I probably don't have as much as others, but it's definitely the right amount for me. As I use some, then I'll put it back, but I try to keep it contained to this basket, and I'll pick something from here as much as I can. These 3 little bins, this one right now has my extra hoops in it, my extra Q-snaps, just small ones. This one has my extra fabric remnants, like little scraps and pieces. Every time I just have a scrap, I just put it in here, and then as it gets full, I'll pull it out and I'll cut things into squares, and then that kind of helps contain this little bin. And then this one is full of just quilt batting. So that kind of keeps that all squished in there and contained. And this is a project roll that I actually made yesterday. So that's something that I can go over in a future video. I used Bonna Pfeiffer's tutorial for that. It was fantastic. So if you're interested, that's actually great. I'll pull it out in my next Flosstube and you guys can have a look. This is another light that I just had come. It's great. You can put it around your neck, and again, I can pull that out in another Flosstube. This one just contains zippers and fill for pillows, right? Like the little plastic beads, and then a few extra threads, and then my scissors and my little pokey tool. All my quilting sewing little notions are on the top of this. This is the little table folded up that I showed in my last video, so you can kind of see what that looks like condensed down. And then this one is my fabric stash, so just kind of put everything here. And then this is all the electronics and my presser foot and electronics, chargers, things that I use for my Flosstube. So I hope you like that. Just gonna close these. And so this is what I use for my stitchy space. It's really that and this section here. So I'll show you my stitchy spot in a few minutes and I'll be right back. Thanks, guys. Okay, welcome back. I hope you liked a little tour of my stitchy space. Now I'll kind of go through how I set up my cross stitching here when I'm stitching. So I really love the Lowrey stand. It is a real game changer. So I can just sit on the couch like this and chat with people. I'm a two-handed stitcher, right? So I kind of stitch this way, and I put most everything into a Q-snap. If I'm traveling, I'll take a little hoop, but normally I do stitch with a Q-snap. I stitch two-handed, and it's normally, before it was kind of held like this, and I would just kind of wedge it somehow and do this. Or I also have a Case Creation stand, which I can show you here shortly. I'll get it and come back. But it just wasn't working as well as this one. I can sit on the couch. This is fully supports my stitching, and I don't have to hold it. So I don't know if I've mentioned this before on my Flosstube or not, but the chemo medications that I'm taking for breast cancer is it actually impacts my hands. So, and I know a lot of you have mentioned as well that you have arthritis or hand pain, or just we stitch for hours, right? So looking after our hands was really, really important. And this has actually saved me because by the time if I was holding this one for an hour or so, this hand would just go completely numb. It's not actually my stitching hand, it's the hand that had to hold the Q-snap that would get tired, oddly. So so this stand has been fantastic for me in being able to hold it and understand that I can stitch for longer and faster because I'm doing it two-handed, right? So I've actually really enjoyed it. I'll just give a quick peek of what it looks like if you haven't seen a Lowrey stand before. I'll just take my my project out and then I'll show you how I load it. But the stand is itself, it has a really, really nice base. It's really, really heavy. And some people actually put weights on the bottom. I've seen one lady, she put like an ankle weight along here. So if you have a really heavy long project, I would suggest probably putting a weight on the bottom. But for just a regular 11 by 11 Q-snap, it doesn't require that. So a really nice base. This is adjustable with the pin for safety. And then this is where you kind of, this is the height can go up and down. And it all comes apart if you want to take it with you somewhere. So you can see here, this is adjustable down here. That might sound bad, sorry about that. And then this is how you flip it from side to side. So you just loosen this one off. And again, my hands hurt, so I was anxious about maybe this being difficult to grasp and turn, but it's not. It's really easy. You can use your whole hand and turn it. So and the same with hooking it up here with your Q-snap. So to get the Q-snap in, you just kind of lower this one down. And I still like to have the ground guards on mine because we have a little puppy, and there's kids around, and and just for me, I like to have the ground guard still on. So what I do is pull the ground guard to the side, and then I put it right into the clasp here. And then I just tighten this. And with that tightened, you'll see it doesn't go anywhere. And see, it's like it's not going anywhere. It's really, really steady. So so I really like that. Oh, sorry for that sound. it holds it in place for me, and I can do my stitching. I also like, sometimes I can just sit back on the couch, put my feet up, and then this thing comes in over off to the side on the couch as well. So it's been a real game changer for my stitching. I absolutely love it, and it was a happy purchase for me. So so if you were interested in that, the stand is really quite nice. There were some questions about the Case Creation lap stand that I have, that I used at the Lone Pine retreat. A couple of you asked what that was from the video that I posted about Lone Pine. So I will just pause for a second. I'll go grab that and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is my Case Creations lap stand, so you'll see here. There was a question about this one from one of my viewers in the comments, just wondering, this is the one that I took to Lone Pine for the retreat. So if you look back in that video, you can see how I kind of had it set up at the Lone Pine retreat in my little stitchy spot for the weekend. It does work pretty well. I love it on a desk. It works really well. You just sit it down, and this is kind of how it goes. The one thing I will say about this is that it's better, it stays tighter with an 8x8 Q-snap or a hoop versus an 11x11, because sometimes as you start pushing on the 11x11 over here, when you're stitching, this will start to go loose. Normally when I have this one set up for longer, I just put it in here now to kind of demonstrate so you could see how it goes in. But normally I would pull the grime guard off, not off, but like off to the side like I did with the Lowry stand one, and then just have this contacting directly on the Q-snap. So because if it's on the cloth, it's definitely going to move. So it's a really good stand for the desk. How I do it, I set it up like this, and then sometimes I'll put a book or two here, or my little Sewing Oceans box to support it, so then when I'm pushing down, it doesn't constantly want to move like that, right? So there's a way to set it up so that it just stays, and then you can stitch. Like I said, I used it all weekend at Lone Pine without a hitch. So the one thing for people with hand pain, I would say, like me, like sometimes I need to get help even to tighten these to make sure it stays in place, is that these knobs, you have to really grip with your hands, which I can't. Like I trigger finger, and you know, just from my chemo meds, like I said, I can't grip things the way I used to. So for any of you with arthritis or anything, unless you have somebody that can give you a hand in tightening, I find that these come loose quite often, and I need to keep retightening. So that is something you consider in this one. It's these little knobs that you need to tighten, and you need to get a pretty good grip on them in order to make it tight so that the thing doesn't move. And there's 5 of these to keep tight, right? So versus the Lowry stand, where it's just the one hand that you can use with just your wrist, basically, not your fingers. So that is something to consider if you have hand pain, and maybe this is not the stand for you. There are other options. I had this like just as I was starting to take my chemo medication and everything, so my hands have progressively gotten worse. So unfortunately, it's just a side effect of taking the breast cancer medications. But there are ways to work through it, right? Like the Lowry stand has been a solution for me for sure. So again, this one, the Case Creation stand, I can put, I'll put a link to it in the box down below. It is quite nice. Like I said, I used it since I began stitching for over a year now. So it's, or about a year. It works. It is really nice. I personally now, I prefer the Lowry stand over this. This one's a little bit more portable. It does flatten down. So I'll see if I can just get the, I didn't have this very tight. I can get this out. So if you need to take it somewhere with you, it basically flattens like this. So it can go in a bag, and this thing can come off. So you can pack it as 2 separate parts. You just unscrew this one and keep hold of the washer, and then it can go in a suitcase or something, right? So this one is more portable than the Lowry. I'll definitely give it that 5 stars on the portability, and it's not super heavy. So yeah, they just serve different purposes, right? So this one is the case creation stand. The Lowry stand is the one I just reviewed for you guys. And those are the two that I have, and certainly just my opinion. I think if everybody will have different views on what they like for their stitching. So, I will share this one with you in case there are questions. This is the Canada sampler that I've been working on. It's something I'm going to put a few stitches in today, I hope. Excuse me. And get that C finished, and maybe the cowboy hat. So anyway, this is from Stitchrovia. It's the Canada sampler, and in my whip parade in the first video, I had this one all pulled out, and you can see the progress. It's almost done. I'm working down through here, and then there's a couple of little more motifs to finish off right here with the totem pole, and it'll be done. So I'm so excited to see this one finished. It's really, really, really pretty. So again, there's a story behind this one. You can go back and check out my whip parade and see why I'm stitching this one. So I really like it. So I guess that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all the likes and subscribes. You know, the comments have been beautiful from my last Flosstube video. I'll probably post this one as Flosstube number 5, and then I'll see you guys for Flosstube number 6 probably next week. And I've just hit 3,000 subscribers. I'm so excited and overwhelmed, and I can't believe it. So I will be doing a giveaway in my next video next week. I'll do that on just one of my regular Flosstube episodes with my my whips and everything, and yeah, and we'll do some celebrating and giveaways. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you really like this little you know, sharing of my stitchy space and where I spend a lot of my time. I just wanted you to see where I stitch and how I organize some of my cross stitch supplies in a very small space. So anyway, happy Easter. Enjoy your long weekend. I hope for all of you that celebrate, and happy stitching. Bye.